Hello. Hello, hello. Er, early gang, yes. Early gang, you are here. Yes, I missed being here. So, the feeling is mutual. So, we're gonna start off here. I'm gonna quickly talk about a couple updates. Yes, we are modding today. I'm gonna talk about some updates to DDD in terms of like DDD modding and all that stuff. And then we're going to talk about the list of things that need to be done, and then the list of things I'm currently working on. We're basically going to get you all up to speed, more or less. And I might revisit this list and talk about it again later when more people show up. So yeah, this list will return almost certainly. So what I want to talk about quickly is I have a brand new dev environment. Uh, this is still technically the same environment, but what I've done is I've basically re-imported the project as a Gradle project into a separate Eclipse workspace because my previous Eclipse workspace was just completely boned. Like it got messed up because of the changes I was making. Specifically, I was making changes so that DDD no longer needed to rely on access transformers. Access transformers allow me to access certain parts of Minecraft code that are not typically accessible, but I need to access in order to make some changes or to like hook onto and stuff like that. But I no longer want to use access transformers. I want to use mixins. I want to use mixins because mixins are a little bit more flexible than access transformers. However, you can't use access transformers with mixins. Don't forget that. That's gonna come back. That's gonna come back. Um, but yes, can't use access transformers with mixins. So the challenges of this new dev environment, here's where we are, is that I needed to. I didn't want to like copy paste the whole thing, so I basically used the same folder on my machine. Um, like I used a different folder for the workspace, but imported the project and basically just pointed to its existing location. So it's not like I had to copy or paste any files or whatever. It's still the same thing, but it's going through a different workspace, and it's going through a different workspace as a Gradle project, which means I have access to these things here, which are Gradle tasks, which will show up in a second. It's taking its sweet time. But basically, I no longer need to build the project through the command line. I can now build it through Eclipse. That's pretty cool. This came at a cost, though. And I'll get to that cost in a second. So we use mixins now. Um, I have familiarity with mixins, and did I have mixins last time I was streaming this? I might have. Yeah, I did, but now I got it working. Basically, the mixins look more or less like this, and like this, and like this. So this is allowing me to access some stuff basically from the font renderer class, from the entity class, and from the entity living base class. Um, this doesn't. Oh, whatever. I don't care. I'll leave that the same thing. It doesn't matter. Yeah, it's been a lot of effort. The main reason I did this, just so that we can remember the justification here. The main reason I did this is so that I can add this specific thing here to check if a creature type is flammable and prevent them from being ignited, and also prevent them from, rendering as flammable. So this is a great way of doing it because it strictly prevents the mob from catching fire. It's not, oh, I notice them catch fire and I immediately extinguish them, hoping that nothing happens during that, moment where they were set on fire. This strictly prevents it from being set on fire, which in my opinion is the right way to do it. Which is great, right? However, I must rewrite my code to use mixins instead of access transformers, because again, access transformers don't play well with mixins. This could be... So this is why I have this. Because I originally had a font renderer somewhere. Right here. I had this, right? This is now deprecated. I'm going to be removing it. This font renderer used access transformers to override this private method so that I could... This was all for, the custom colors that DDD uses, right? That's what all this was for. So in order to fix that, I now have that as a mixin doing mostly the same thing. In fact, I kind of know it works, so I don't need these lines anymore. Because that's going to cause a severe slowdown. It basically works the same way. And I also had to add, I also had to add this little invoker, which allows me to call this method from the entity living base class, even though it's a private method. Which I need to do because that's how DDD does shield stuff. However, this is the original combat tracker, which is where all the calculations are done. All the combat calculations. And originally, I have this extend Minecraft's combat tracker, which is perfectly fine. But I need to set the field. I need to set the entity's combat tracker to this combat tracker and not their original one. And to do that, I need to figure out what the field is and override it. Now, that's fine, 9 times out of 10. Well, that's fine 9 times out of 10 for most mixins. Specifically for this mixin, I have no idea what the hell is going wrong. The problem was... Hi, Schmizmates. Welcome to the stream. The problem is that the field that it needed to look for was not the same field in my dev environment, and when I changed it to match, it no longer worked when I compiled it to a mod, which basically meant I could not use mixins to set this combat tracker, which means I need to rewrite the entire combat tracker as a capability, which is what I've done over here. I've written this as a combat tracker over here as a capability. The only difference being I now have a separate file here for handling some of the other things as well, and this is currently what I'm working on. Why are you like this? So that's cool, right? I had to rewrite the entire thing. Which is fine. Everything else still sucks because I can no longer debug DDD when connected to the Thank you! Thank you for the sub. Thank you for the Twitch Prime. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. So, I can no longer debug DDD with the debugger because... Thank you for the bits. So... Nice hype train. The idea is I can't hook it up to the debugger because CraftTweaker uses access transformers, and since now I'm not using access transformers, and access transformers don't play well with mixins, except when compiled to mods and ran as an end user, I can't actually, like, the game won't run with CraftTweaker as, like, a dependency, because CraftTweaker tries to use its access transformers, but Forge Gradle 5, like, won't work with that, and so it can't launch the game hooked up to a debugger, which means if I want to debug, I have to build it as a mod, put it in like a CurseForge profile, and launch the game that way. Which unfortunately takes a bit of time. But the upside is I have mixins. The downside is that sucks. In addition, the first aid mod might be a problem because of how it handles armor differently. Now, I think I know how to fix that. I probably know how to fix that. There's like a good 95% chance that this works. However, there might be a small, tiny caveat that will likely not matter for RL craft, and that is if a player has resistances, those resistances might be ignored. However, by default, players don't get resistances. You have to manually configure that, and I don't think the RLCraft devs are going to give players resistances. So, it likely won't matter. It likely won't matter. But it also might not be a problem because things might still work out. I'm not too sure. I've had a brief look at the first aid repository. I've had a brief look at how it works. I can't confirm if it would cause that issue, but even if it does cause that issue, it likely won't matter. It might just be like, if you use first aid with DDD, you can't have player resistances, or I have to add like a special little thing for that, which might be hard to do. I don't know. And now there is this idea for a particle-based add-on, suggested by Aerocraft dev Shavaxi, who basically said it'd be cool if you hit a mob with a certain damage type, you got a couple feedback particles being like you hit them with cold damage, or you hit them with fire damage, or whatever, right? And that could be cool. I think it's a good idea to bundle that whole thing as a separate mod, as like an add-on, just so that DDD itself isn't filled with extra stuff, right? Just kind of set it off to the side as a separate mod. And now there's basically a client-side version and a server-side version. The client-side version would basically just look at the damage that you are inflicting, and just kind of go, okay, you're doing that damage based off some config values, I'll throw some particles. The server-side version could actually look at the damage that was inflicted, not the damage that you're trying to deal, but like the damage that the mob actually took, right? And maybe give particles based off that, which would make it slightly more accurate. But that makes the mod, if you install it server-side, now a hard dependency in like mod packs and stuff. So we could do both, though. We could do both. We could detect if we're running server-side or client-side, similar to like how Apple Skin does stuff, and we could maybe do both. We can maybe do both. That's basically all the announcements. bunch of cool stuff, but I now have to rewrite a lot of, well, not a lot of my mod, but to rewrite some parts of it to work. And then I have the same list here. This is probably where we're going to cut off and release 1.7, which is probably the version that will be in RLCraft, maybe like 1.7.1 if we catch a couple bugs here or there. But basically, this stuff I don't have planned to be in 1.7 because except for maybe this. This might be something we need to do. I don't know. But yeah, basically we cut off 1.7 here. That's the idea. So, one thing I am doing is the original combat tracker here had the hurt callback at the lowest priority. I'm going to change that to be at low priority. That way I know that this will happen before first aid does stuff, because first aid will act on the hurt event at lowest priority. So if I go at low, I'll act right before that, which is totally fine, because then first aid can do its stuff. So I argue that that's pretty good. That'll definitely help a little bit. And then we will still basically do this the same. Now, one of the biggest problems with first aid is that if you apply an armor attribute modifier to the entity, the armor is applied to all parts, all body parts. Which is what I'm doing. I'm applying an attribute modifier to the entity. However, I could instead apply the attribute modifier to the armor piece instead, right? Because each armor piece has its own armor distribution. And so we basically just distribute that armor and then apply an attribute modifier to change the amount of armor that armor piece provides based off its armor distribution. So it's all now localized on the item, which should at the end of the day like do the exact same thing, have the exact same result, more or less, with the advantage of it working with first aid. However, for now, I'm just going to rewrite it to be the same way it was before, so that I can verify if that needs to be done or not. Because it might not necessarily need to. It probably does. But I don't want to go too crazy yet. So I was copying this over. And I had this. Oh, I actually need to now do this. On hurt callback. And that was the hurt. And now I need to do the damage. Oh, attack. Oh, wait. I need to add the annotation here. Priority is low. Right? Yeah, we can add some finals here. Why not? They're final in the other one. Let's make them final here. No, not the width. I don't want their width. I want their world. I want their world view. I want to know what they think about, I'm gonna stop that train of thought before it gets too political. Now, I could copy-paste it over, but I do like the idea of rewriting it over by hand, because it gives me the opportunity to double-check that this is how I want it to be. Get the combat tracker for the U. And then I do an if present, right? Yeah. remove. Wait, no. I need to get the entity attribute and then remove it. I wonder if. Yeah, whatever. Now we can just do void. Remove arbor modifier. And I made a new class, DDD attribute modifier collections dot modifier record modifier type. Yeah, and then this is going to do entity dot get entity attribute modifier type dot get attribute modified dot remove modifier type dot get UUID. There we go. Now I don't need to write that all together. I can just do remove armor modifier ct.getFighter and then ddd attribute modifier collections dot armor, and then I do the same thing, and then this is toughness, and that'll remove that, which is good. Good bueno. And now I need to do ct.handle damage stage, which I already have. ct.get recent results dot get amount dot is if present big if, actually not really big if, event dot set amount. Couldn't I? Oh, because I need cast it to float. Wait, then can't I just dot map it, dude? Wait, you can't map optional doubles? No way. That's crazy, dude. Man, that sucks. I really do have to do it like that. If present, event dot set amount, because I need to cast it to a float here. And cast D to a float, and then we're good. Dot do effects, event dot get source dot get true source, ct dot get fighter, ct dot get recent results. Yeah. And then on damage callback. And this needs to be describe event at highest priority. Now, I do need to add this knockback. Moving knockback event. What do you do here? Oh, we map it. Dot map to IDDD combat tracker. Get recent results. What are you doing, my guy? Dot map again. Predicates. Dot or and immunity triggered. Blah 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 blah. Oh my gosh. Dot or predicates dot and combat results. Probably, yeah, probably using function notation here. Was immunity triggered? Results dot get amount dot or else double dot nan equals 0. So if the damage is 0 and it's immunity triggered, or there was an effective shield, yeah. So that's that. Or the combat result? No, isn't it just combat results? Was shield effective? And then test that. And then if present, event, and then set the canceled state. Yeah, there we go. There's one more thing we need to do here. And it's not here. It needs to be in mixin. We need to make another mixin. Where are you here? I probably make it make an abstract mixin combat tracker. Yes. Okay, it doesn't extend anything. Good. I don't want it to. So this is a mixin on combat tracker. I hate you. Dot class. There you go. And I wish to change. I need to inject Where do I need to inject? Get death message. I could inject right at the head. Yeah, I need to inject right here. And change what is returned. So this is going to be a get death message. I actually do need this over here. So I need to see what the heck this signature is. This is the wrong thing. Where's the actual combat tracker? Where'd you go? Did I close you? No, you were just right there. Probably. Nah, whatever. This. Oh, this doesn't have a... Right. That would make sense. That would make sense. That would make sense. And this needs to extend combat tracker, I'm pretty... No. No. And then I can add shadow a fighter. Do I shadow the fighter or do I shadow... I might as well shadow the fighter. How'd I do that again? Did I shadow stuff here? No, I shadowed stuff here. Abstract void. Yeah. No, those are shadowing those things. I need a shadow... No, it's not a shadow. It's an accessor. It's an accessor. That's what it is. Indie living base. I still need to make this a method, right? What am I doing? And this is fighter? I do that right? Looks like. I'm just going to take a callback info returnable of an I text component. And this is going to be an inject. The method... No, dude, what are you doing? The method is going to be get death message. No, what are you doing? I think it's like this. Oh, wait. It has no arguments, and then it returns an lnet mine... No. L net Minecraft util... What's this? Text. I text component. Like that. Minecraft util text I text component. Yeah, because that's what it's that's what it returns. How else do I do this? That's a method, and then at, and then yeah. At is going to be at a head at the head. And cancelable is going to be true because we're going to change the return value. Hello. And then basically what we're going to do is we're going to... There should be a spot where, yeah, this thing here. We're basically doing this whole thing. So, now that I have that accessor, I'm going to do... dot get DDD combat tracker for this dot get fighter. That seems legit. A dot if present. Get type last hit by. Wait, can't I flat map it? Hold on. Hold on. Don't do this. Flat map. Get type last hit by. Dot if present. Do I even need to do that as well? Well, I can add this check here. If no, wrong one. Config dot a client. Nope. I think it's core. Can I stop typing the wrong things here? Use custom death messages. I'm not going to do anything in that context. Otherwise, if we have custom death messages enabled, I'm going to get the combat tracker, I'm going to get this, I'm going to flat map type last hit by if present. That's what it does here, type last hit by. It filters that, which is like the same thing, and it flat maps it to get death message for type. Or else... And I just do an if present there. Yeah, okay. I don't do an if present yet. I need to like flat map again. And then what does this actually do? It flat maps it to get death message for type, providing the context. I can't flat map it because now I no longer have access to the combat tracker. You're joking. Dot if present. There we go. Because I still need access to this combat tracker later on. CT dot get type last hit by dot flat map. Get the registries dot damage types dot get death message for type, passing in the type. Now do CT dot I need to get the context from the combat tracker. ct.get combat context dot get source, I think. Defender should be this dot get fighter. Dot. Hold on. What do you mean you can't infer type arguments, dude? It's right there. You take the type, you get the death message. Flat map, get death message, context, dot get source. Oh, dot get true source. Dot get true source, dot get true source, dot get true source. I have no idea what just happened. There you go. What happened? I have no idea. Whatever. Dot if present. Now, whoops. If present, I do info set return value. Yes, dude, yes. So if it's present, we're going to get the type last hit by, flat map it to all of this stuff, and then if that exists, we're going to replace it. Otherwise, we basically do nothing, and then it will continue along as normal. What's the issue here? What is the issue here? Oh, that would be attribute modifier collections dot armor calc UID. Attribute modifier collections dot toughness calc UID. Okay, good. We changed that. Good. Good, good, good. Set the return. Yeah, that seems pretty good to me. Can't wait for it to not work. This is... I don't think it's client side only. No, it wouldn't be. So I need to add it here. Mixin, combat tracker. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Seems good to me. And now I have access to these tasks here. Build it. Don't save this. I had to think about that for a second. Please just work. I don't want to experience agony. Okay. It did it! It was successful. Hallelujah, dude. Very hype. Okay, so we got all that. Now, I probably have to spend forever fiddling and testing with things to make sure it works. Probably. Probably. I'm gonna quickly double check. Actually, I don't need this. I'm gonna quickly double check. So, not here. The API, that's not it. The capability. So we have the capability. This is the new combat tracker. This is all the stuff that it does. I didn't even comment all the things, because that's a lot. I'll do that later. And then I have a distributor. This distributor is going to lag my Eclipse. Good job. This distributor has this right here, and it's going to it basically just creates a new combat tracker right here, right? Yeah. Which it will then assign because I have put it in here. I put it, where'd I put it? I put it somewhere. I swear I put it somewhere. I had to put it here. I had to put it in the mob caps. Not the base mob caps. Because the base mob caps is different. The base mob cap specifically wants generatable distributors, but this one's not generatable because it doesn't generate anything because it just does a thing. So I just slap it in there. And so that should still work because when I want to get capabilities for this, it's going to get all the caps using this and this. And yeah, it's just gonna, it just does thing. So it should work. It should, in theory, work. And if it doesn't, well, we tried. We had a good run. Okay, let's bring this over here and this over here. And let's go into here, into here, into here, and we get you. And I throw you over here. And there we go. Now it's there. Now I do this. Okay. Alright, it's got this. It's not gonna break. Everything's gonna work. Because I tested this off stream. And I was able to build the mod and load the mod and do a whole bunch of other stuff. So it's gonna work. It's just gonna work. We hope. It's waiting. Anyway, while that waits, let's go back to here. Yes, there's this thing too. I think we mostly have this. If the game loads, then we got this done. Basically. And then I can move this up to here. And that would be nice. We also have to do this. We have to do a lot of... I'm probably going to spend some time doing this. Assuming everything works. I'm probably going to spend a lot of time doing this, making sure this works correctly. This... Actually, this should be easy. Where's my config? My config reader. Actually, what does, DD distribution configuration. Don't you register the readers? Yeah, you do. Damage distribution config reader. That's for that. Basic config reader. This is gonna be tricky. Yeah, see, this is what's happening here. Oh, Minecraft's loading. Beautiful. Beautiful. Only positive entry tuple subregex. Build list regex. Allow empty. If empty, lists should be matched. Wait! No way! Is that the only time I call this? Wow, dude, that's crazy. That's actually crazy. All right, the game loaded. That's Pog. Yeah. So nothing has broken, and the text works and everything, which is also great. Love to see it. Everything is correct. This is also great. Also love to see it. I don't think there's anything with a fire weakness. Oh, yeah, silverfish. But the silverfish is gonna... No, 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 no. I mean, this spider has a bludgeoning weakness. We're gonna just crash the game. Uh-oh. Interesting. I might have messed some things up. I might have. But I'm gonna check. Will you? Oh, that's not good. That caused the exact same problem. Yeah, for some reason, it actually hard crashed that time. It's caused by the same thing. Okay. I'm getting a null pointer exception. This might be the dumbest thing. Potentially. Um, I will need to add a couple things here. No, no, no. Go to the implementation of this. So I have the capability to inject. Is this not... Wait a second. Wait a second. Wait a second. I know what went wrong. I forgot something crucial. I knew I forgot something crucial. Where is it? Right here. I need IDDD combat tracker dot. I don't have a register. I basically just need this. I knew I forgot something. I knew it. Um, sorry, what do you do? Oh. Oh! Capability based dot register. The class is IDDD combat tracker dot class. The MBT class is MBT tag compound dot class, and this is going to be DDD combat new, which does not work, by the way, because yeah. Oh, that's fascinating. What about you? What do you do? Default capability supplier. Maybe register. Callable. Default implementation, sorry. A factory that produced new instances of the default implementation. But it does not do, that's fascinating. I feel like that might cause problems. Maybe. I don't know. What if I just do this? I have my doubts. I have my doubts that that works. I might need to do a little something. I'm surprised that this doesn't need to. Well, I guess it wouldn't need to. That makes sense. It needs to be able to get this. Now, I could... I'm expecting that to not work. I'm gonna be real. I'm expecting that to not work at all. Dude, don't save it. It's always asking me. Because my concern is that the way, like, what does it need that default capability for? I think it needs that default capability for this. When placed on a field, the field will be set to an instance of capability once that capability is registered. That field must be static and be able to hold an instance of capability. Beautiful. When placed on a method, the method will be invoked once the capability is registered. This allows you to have an enable features callback. It must have one parameter of type capability. Okay, that's for the capability inject annotation. What do you need this nonsense for? APIs who define the capability should call this. To retrieve the capability, use the capability inject annotation. Yeah, I'm well aware of that. The interface we registered. Return to register the capability with no default implementation factory. Where is the factory used here? It just creates this capability thing. This is the core holder object capability. This is the core holder object capabilities. That is not an English sentence. Each capability will have one instance of this class, and it will be the one passed into the capability provider functions. The capability manager is in charge of creating this class. The capability provider. Oh, yeah. Okay. What about this? This has a storage, which is fine. Read MBT, write MBT, get default instance. Wait, does this Get default. A new instance of default implementation. If it is important to note what if it is important to note that if you want to use a default storage, you may be required to use this exact implementation. Refer to the owning API of the capability in question. A new instance of the default implementation. That's for get default instance. Use this inside get capability to avoid unchecked cast warnings. Right. Okay, that's where this is done. Where is this called? That's a real question. Nowhere. So it doesn't matter? No, there's no way. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. If you insist. I have major doubts. Because that's the only time this thing is called. Because it's a callable. And this factory is private. And so the only time this callable gets called is when the factory calls it, which is only done in get default instance. It can be nullable. That's very fascinating, actually. No, but I can't return null. Returning null is going to be a problem because then getting the capability would be a problem. But the default instance... I mean, the default instance is going to be... Oh, wait, I think I get it. The default instance is going to be what gets injected into this thing. Right, so then this will be an instance of it, and then all I need to do is check against that, in which case it doesn't matter that the fighter is null because... Yeah, dude, I get it. I think I get it. If the game crashes immediately, I'm gonna be sad. Leave me alone. Run away. Dude, it's after me. Ha! Gotcha, buddy! Oh, shoot, that worked. Sort of. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna test to make sure it works, because this is bludgeoning damage, and you have a 25% weakness to bludgeoning damage. So if this does 5 damage, 25% more of that. I really wish it did 4 bludgeoning damage. Do you have a slashing resistance? No, you don't. I might use this. I might not use it. I don't know. I actually genuinely don't know. This is 3.5. Whatever. So it should do more than 5 though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It did 7 damage. It did 7 damage. Now I could turn on the stuff, which I will. Here. Do I need a restart? No, I don't. I showed the hurt info and damage info. Probably just that. Yeah, okay, it took an extra 25 damage, which should be 6.25 because 1.25, 1.25, 1.25, 1.25. Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right, dude. That's right. And it took 7.5, which is, yeah, and that goes to 9.38, which is about right, so. Okay, okay. Good. Bye, idiot. Shouldn't you have adaptability? A 30% chance? There we go. And since your adaptability amount is 25%, it basically patches up your bludgeoning weakness. And now there's nothing. Because it's just raw. Okay, good. That also works as intended. And I know that it's using the capability stuff because it crashed that one time. Because everything broke, that means it's working. Yay! Okay, so now there's a couple things here that I need to check. Resistance, let's turn off shield calculations for a sec. Let's see if this works. Actually, hold on. Keep them on. Right? Now, check if this works, because I have a shield, right? So this shield has 50% effectiveness on piercing. Woo! Yep. And then I'm going to make a skeleton. Plop them right down here. And now, dude, what are you doing? Okay. We gotta deal with this guy, alright? I'll be right back, don't go anywhere. You, good sir. Good sir. What are your resistances? Oh, you have none. Wait, why do you have none? That has nothing to do. That has everything to do with the fact that I have a weird config file that's like an amalgamation of like 6 different versions of DDD, so it's not using default values, which makes freaking sense. Not gamer mode. Dude, we're not in gamer mode. I want to set up that little thing I had before. I don't know how it was set up, but I had something. I had a little something something. where there was like this, there was a lever here. We had a redstone torch there. We're doing good. Oh, I can do like a flash give at P stone. Okay, so it won't do it there because it's a chain. Now, if I make this an impulse, make this an impulse, but then if I make this a chain, that's fascinating. I didn't actually know how that worked. Effect at P. Resistance. No, isn't it duration first and then I don't know. I'm gonna enter. Why did I? Okay, this is the power. What is your problem? Oh my gosh, dude. No, dude, everyone saw me change that, right? Did I press cancel? Yeah, okay, it works. Minecraft regeneration. No, what am I doing? Okay, and now I just have this that sits up here, like that. And it's gonna be effect at P clear. What? Okay, good. I have my invul switch, my invulnerability switch. I had to like set all this up again because new dev environment and I have to test differently, so invul off here, invul on. Okay. Anyway, I'm doing pretty good. Welcome here. What the So you suck. That's what you're telling me. How are you not on fire? I need to have another switch for day-night cycle, probably. Basically the same thing. Whoops. There you go. Okay, so I need to set tonight. I need to have my invulnerability on for this test. Cool. Alright. Good. Good stuff. It seems I'm... It seems your aim sucks, buddy. Why is it not... Huh. Bro! You suck! Huh. That's... interesting. Is it not... Huh. Well, for starters, turn off the shield calculations. Do it again. Bro. Yep. There we go. Wait, why am I taking damage? Hello? Hello? That's not how that's supposed to work. There's something fundamentally wrong with that. Huh. Okay. Okay. That's not right. Let me take a look here. Well, I'm gonna need a save and quit anyway. Because, yeah. Okay, so it updates the context and damage. And this should return false, right? So this returns false because we have that, right? So it doesn't do it, which is great. Then it gets the incoming damage. It blocks with the shield. Well, no, it doesn't. It fundamentally doesn't do any of this. Since it doesn't do any of this, then this doesn't do anything either. Whoa, what the heck? Fine, block using. Thank you. Yeah, okay, that does knockback, which is fine. This is on attack. On entity living attack. And it can block because it's doing that. If it couldn't block the damage, then it wouldn't block the damage. It's like that simple. That's so weird, though. That's so weird, though. I just want to confirm, right? If that's set to false, then it won't even do that. Yeah. So then it'll check. It skips all that. It continues forward, right? It continues forward. No. Block. Block using shield. There you go. Yeah. Okay. So it blocks, and then where is this flag used? This flag is used later on. So it attacks the entity. The flag is false. If it can block the damage, which it clearly can because it is blocking the damage, it sets the amount of damage to 0. Hold on. Hold on. In total sums up all that. But if this damage is 0, it should be multiplying everything by 0 and just wiping out the whole map, right? So that makes sense. If DMG is 0 and the total is non-zero, which it is, then this ratio is 0, which means it multiplies all the values by 0 and puts it in the map at key right there. Okay, so that is what we expect, which means the incoming damage map, if this is 0, then the incoming damage map should do that, right? So that's fair. But clearly that's not happening. Which is lovely. I love it when it doesn't work. Clearly we enter here, right? Because we do an on living hurt. I don't ever make it unblockable. Because here I check, right? If it's blockable. Hold on, where's my other combat tracker? The one that I'm replacing. That's damage stage. Attack stage. Incoming damage is present. Shield is present. Shield has capability. Don't I check with the thing? This just fires that. A new shield block event. Which is fine. Hold on, I could have sworn I did those checks. His capability. Oh wait, that should be within the context, right? That's probably why. Get blocking shield. Is active item stack blocking. Get damage location. Yeah, it does this whole thing. To determine if it's blocking. Which is fine. But again, that shouldn't matter because if we're not doing this, then how are we still doing damage? What's going on? Okay, let's see. Let's walk through here. We fire this. We're in here. This is not happening. This is not happening. We're here. The source is not fall, nor is it falling block. So that's fine. This is where we are. Can block damage source, which it can, because it did. It damages the shield, it sets the amount to 0, and then it sets a flag. And then we go along to here. And then we go to damage entity. Or, no, we go into here. And it doesn't really matter. We go into damage entity regardless. But the amount is 0! The amount is 0! Because we do an on-living hurt for 0. We update the context and the damage using the amount here, right? If the context is null, which it's not, we check If the incoming damage is not null, which it's not, we check if the amount is not equal to the damage, which it's not, and we check if the context matches, which it should because nothing here has changed, right? We get the true source, and we check all this stuff. Right? So the context matches, the damage doesn't match, and the incoming damage is not null, so we distribute this damage, which should set everything to 0, right? Which should set everything to 0. I mean, it doesn't... Clearly, that doesn't happen, but if present, get currently used shield distribution, which there is none, because we never set it. Set returns an optional, so this doesn't happen. The map is still not empty. Then we set this type to a weighted representative type, and then if armor calculations are enabled, we do this whole armor calculation stuff, which does not matter, right? And we go through here, we update the context and damage again. At this point, the map is empty, and nothing has changed, so nothing should happen here. And we classify the defenses, we do all of this stuff. None of this really matters, because it doesn't really happen. And, this is that thing's happening. It's like not doing this. For some reason. Wait. Don't I have a thing? I have a thing for this. I have a thing for this. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. It should be here, right? Boo 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 boop. Debug lib. Yep. Can I put it in a union code lasers by hand here? Yeah, but that's Scala. I don't care about that. I don't know what I'm doing with that, so I'm not even gonna bother. Or it was just like a runnable. That's basically want, right? Because, yeah. Runnable interface should be implemented in classes that are intended to be executed by a thread. Yeah, but that's fine. It's a functional interface. That's all that matters. What am I doing? That's basically the whole thing. What are you doing? Wait, doesn't this do the same thing? Yeah, so I don't actually need the status check here because that's just that. Uh, wait, do I need to put this here? Or am I? Yeah, I do. Okay, good. Adjusting the damage. And this should be, the current is this dot damage. And then this is amount. Maybe. I have no idea. Okay, so then, though, if it doesn't, then what the heck? Okay, so now I'll know basically what's going on here. Based on how these messages get output, if at all. Okay. Don't save that. I don't need you to save it. But yeah, since I can no longer hook up to the debugger in Eclipse, this class here is going to be my new best friend, where I'm going to have to add a whole bunch of debug tools so that I can debug things in-game without having the debugger. So, this is unfortunately the situation. But I think this should give me the information. This should give me the information I need. I really hope this gives me the information I need. It's interesting that it's still damaging me, though, because I could maybe use that. Maybe. I've stared at this for a long time. I don't know why I did. Okay, yep, yep, yep. So, we're gonna open up the log over here. I'm going to... No, summon! Summon a skeleton. Okay, so... Setting new context. Damage classification. Updating context and damage. I set the determined damage. Updating context and damage. Wait a second. What the heck? Final damage is 4. Don't type. Wait, I might not. What the heck does... Oh, wait. No, but that's used here. On the attack stage. It is cleared. I am really interested in something. Where is the other mixin? Where's the other mixin? Where's the mixin for the thing? Oh, I might have closed it. Okay. Hold on. It set the new context. Summon that. It shoots me, sets new context, damage classification. Then does the attack. Yeah, and then it updates the context and damage again, but it doesn't actually do anything. And then determine damage again? Wait, why is it... Why is there a determined damage event fired like 3 times? Hold on. Hold on. I said hold on, bro. Actually, you know what? That's good information. Yeah, it's doing it multiple times. Why are you doing it multiple times? Huh. This is fascinating. This is fascinating. Okay, we're gonna switch over here. I understand that this will classify the damage here, but only if the context is null. Wait. Have I not set the context? No, I have. Right down here. This dot set combat context. New combat context. Boom. So then, okay, hold up. Update context and damage. It gets the context, right? And then I think I'm onto something here. Incoming damage. If context is not null. And then if incoming damage is null, classify. What's this return? Incoming damage is that. Can this actually return an empty, like an optional to empty? I guess in theory, right? I know what's happening here. This dot incoming damage equals this, right? Because I need to actually assign it here, right? But dot I don't want to do a get. This is allowed to be null. This is allowed to be null. No. Cannot convert from. Right. Okay, we're gonna write this a little better. If this dot incoming damage is null, then this dot incoming damage equals DDD combat calculations dot classify damage passing in this context. Dot or else null, right? And then return optional dot of nullable this dot incoming damage. So if it can't classify the damage, then it returns null, which means then it returns an empty optional. Which means it will constantly attempt to reclassify the damage whenever it gets the chance. I don't know if I want to allow that. If it tries to classify the damage and fails, then it's unlikely to actually classify it differently a second time. if it's null and, well, I don't even need if it's null. Just if this dot damage classified, if it was not classified, classify it, and then set this dot damage classified to true. Then I need to add that here, actually, probably. Because I only want the determined damage event to fire once per. Okay, yeah. So now what I can do here, no, state. Okay, now, now, do you get incoming damage? No, do you get incoming damage? Right here. If damage classified, yeah, this damage classified equals true. If not, this dot was damage classified. We'll use the thing. And then we have to go here, and we have to do in clear, we have to do this dot set damage classified false. Okay, so now what happens is it only attempts to classify once, which is good. Now it actually successfully assigns this to the incoming damage, then wraps it in an optional and returns it. Then the combat calculations. That might have been what was going on the entire time. Like, it was blocking the damage correctly, but it was constantly trying to, like, reclassify the damage based off, like, the existing context that it had originally, which had damage. So it changed it. which is a really fascinating way of doing that. But it's probably better that I continue to do it the way I'm currently doing it. Probably. I'm thinking about it, and it's probably better. Because I could let Minecraft block the damage normally and then kind of step in and change it. But the problem is that if I do that, then if the damage is 0 and I change it, I have no way of knowing is if it was set to 0 because it was blocked, or if it was set to 0 because something else came along and set it to 0. I could add checks for that. Like, I could add some, like, really complex logic to, like, check to see if the shield block occurred. But I don't know. I don't know if it's worth it. I don't know if it's worth it. I might leave it like this because, yeah. Now, it does actually, interestingly, this is where it does the effects here. Maybe add a reminder to check later. Interesting idea. Interesting idea. Are the effects done here? Yeah, they're done here. What? Whoa, 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 whoa. When does it... Okay, so it's we do our handle attack event, right, which is fine. This is where we do the shield stuff. I want to figure out where it's playing that sound. Where is it doing that sound? Was immunity triggered? Was shield effective? That's done only there. My guy, what? Wait a second. What the heck? This is only for sending sounds. It gets all the sounds. Get sound if applicable. Oh. This dot is applicable. This is for DD combat sounds. I think. Dude, just take me to the DDD combat sounds. Was shield effective? Yep. It gets fired here. Okay. I getcha. That's where it's coming from. Does it use the same... It uses the same thing, right? High resist hit. Create sound event. I don't care about it. I was thinking like the oh, that is true. I do still have Minecraft open. That is a good point. Try that again now. I was thinking like, okay, if I basically wanted to reuse the same sound event for like when a shield was hit, but be able to have different subtitles, and I don't think I can. I just don't think Minecraft works like that. So I'd have to like duplicate the sound file, which is dumb. Categorically dumb. Because yeah. Or I come with a different sound, but I don't want to. I don't want to go all fully artist right now. There's like really no point. Ha! Hold on. Dang it! It broke! What happened? Oh, you're joking. uh... Good for me. It did not break because something was bad. It broke because these need to be Fs. It broke solely because of my debugging. My debugging broke it, not the actual thing. Oh my gosh. Now this is the problem. I have to rebuild the entire thing now. And put it back in. And that takes about like half a minute or whatever, which sucks, but like I can't run it through the debugger. It just doesn't work. At least the way to get it to run through the debugger is beyond my abilities. Maybe there is a way to where there can be some mod. I'll have to look into this. Like, maybe there's a mod that exists on CurseForge to, like, patch that problem. And I just add that to the runtime environment of the mod, and then I can hook it together. Probably not. But that sounds like a mod that should exist. But I don't think it does. I would like for it to exist. Okay, so we're done the build. Because %d is for decimals. And you're like, oh, decimal numbers, you know, floating point numbers, decimal numbers. No. Decimal in this context means integer. And F means float. And it won't like hard attempt to convert it. And so yeah. It just breaks. Which is awesome. Granted, I don't have like much here. Oh, wait a second. You guys didn't even get to see that happen because I forgot to do this. That makes sense, dude. Not that it matters. A skeleton shot my shield and everything broke, right? So like that's it. Like you didn't miss much. Oh shoot, dude! Now it's working. Get him. Your aim sucks so much, dude. Break your bones. Break your bones. Not one slash, dude. Okay, so what I want to check is I want to... Oh wait, it does auto thing. Skeleton. Okay, then do this. Later, nerd. Okay. Whoops. Can I even do that? Nice. That's perfect. Alright, so now if the guy despawns whatever, I can step on that and respawn him. I'm putting him here because I don't want him to shoot at me and stuff. In fact, actually, no. I need a new shield. Because I'm pretty sure there's something important that I forgot to do. And that is... If I re-enable shield calculations, right? And this man shoots at me. Yeah. What's the piercing effectiveness on this? Oh. Did you fall out of the world? You dumbass. Oh, this doesn't have, Interesting that it does block some of the damage. Probably because... No, but it shouldn't have, dude, it won't have. But wait, it says that it has a shield effect, like, it has a shield distribution. That might be... Default shield distribution, no effectiveness. Wait, but if I turned off the shield calcs... If turned off, DD will let shields with haze other one. DD won't even assign shield distributions if disabled. Disabled. Hold on. We gotta fix that. That's just not right. Where are you? And config resist if disabled. So that's one thing, right? Now, what I want to know is, see, the piercing is set to 0.5, right? But, like... Oh, wait. Where's the shield calculations? Okay, you dumb idiot. Now, where to say that? Shield distribution. Nothing. You dumb piece of shit. Why do you walk off the edge? Do I really have to put in handrails for you, dude? I thought you weren't gonna be that dumb. Okay. Now this man isn't gonna walk off the edge. Okay, so it classifies it as 5 piercing. It says the final damage is 4. And the shield distribution returns nothing. Then again, I'm pretty sure... Resistance... Shield calculations are on. Right. But this shouldn't even have a shield distribution set to it. You know? I forgot I need that. Okay, I turn this off. Right? Actually, very quickly, turn it. Dude, what? Oh, always active. This one is set to needs redstone, which I guess works. I mean, it's still fundamentally it still works. So there you go. I don't have Yeah, no, I don't have a way to do that. Other than giving myself a large hunger effect, but eh. Oh, dude, I know what I'll do. Hunger, but only do it for like 10 ticks or something. So that if I turn this on, I have this. If I turn this on, it'll do this, which we want it to empty my saturation, dude. But it's not doing it. That was not strong enough. Bro, thank you. You took forever to finally decide to lower. Okay, you can stop now. Oh my lord. Whatever. Okay, that said 4, and I took 4. That said 4, and I took 4 as well. Your aim sucks. That said 5, and I took 5. What about that one time where it said 5, but I took 4? Like, what's up with that? I don't know what that was up about. I don't know what was up with that. Anyway, so this works, right? So that's the show calcs thing. However, there's one thing that's not working. And that is that when this is done, when the shield calcs are turned off, it is still. Oh, wait. Is applicable. Yeah, dude. So if that's set to false, though, then it shouldn't assign anything. Right? Because we get capability. If it's configured, that's for this, which extends this thing. Where hello? Where is the is applicable used? Where are you defined? Implements abstract capability distributor. This thing. Oh yeah, is applicable. But where are you used, my guy? Open call hierarchy. It's used right here. If it's applicable, then it does that. But it returns false. Huh? Let me check this. Where is it? This. Shield distribution, formatter. Get shield distribution. Yeah, but it doesn't have a shield distribution. So, bro? That's really confusing. Let me try that again. Maybe I missed something up there, you know? Maybe. Just maybe. So it was set to false fundamentally, right? It was fundamentally set to false. We know this because it's right here. Enable shield calculations false. It says it won't even assign shield distributions if enabled. This means that this should not have a shield effectiveness rating, but it does. It doesn't have anything here, but it was assigned an empty shield distribution. Why? Why were you assigned an empty shield distribution? That's so fascinating. That's so fascinating, in fact, that I hate it. It's assigned an empty shield distribution, which won't work, but, like, you shouldn't be assigned a shield distribution at all. That's some fascinating stuff. So it's not the tooltip. Like, it actually genuinely has a shield distribution. I'm pretty sure. I'm gonna double check it. Hello? Open my search bar thingy. How come you can never find it? You're so dumb. Okay. Open up the NBT Explorer. We're gonna double check. We're gonna verify, you know? And we're gonna open I gotta find the folder. Right here, instances, saves. Yep, okay. We're gonna add a little window capture, sure. Let me show you what's going on here. Can I actually center this thing to the screen and then fit to screen? Sure, buddy. Where's my thing? Here it is. Put this down to like here. All right, whatever. That works. Okay, so this is NBT Explorer. It's a little thing that I can use to like look at the data in game. So we're in this folder here, and then this is probably me. I should have like 2 shields in my inventory. That's a book. That's flint and steel. That's a spawn egg. That's a spawn egg. This is the wrong folder. This is the right folder. That's a command block. That's a lever. That's a shield. That's a shield. But wait, this shield doesn't have... Bruh? The item capabilities aren't listed here? That's fascinating, dude. No, they are, dude. Look at this. So the shield doesn't have the capability on it. There's another piece to this puzzle. And I think I know what that other piece is. I think I know what the other piece is. And I believe what the other piece is should assign default. Because it is assigning a shield distribution still. Now, where is this being used? Hold on, wait. I don't need this Minecraft nonsense. Get out of here. This should assign default. That's where are you called in get capability. Where is this called? Get resource location and capability, which is called at get caps. I'm confused as to why it still gets assigned. Because shouldn't it see it as not applicable and thus not do that? But clearly it does see it as applicable. No, that's not it. Wait, is it? Where's the shield distribution thing? Generatable. Config that get default value. Should assign default. But does that actually have it? Defined items only. Default shield distribution. Do I need to and that there? But that doesn't make sense. Again, that still doesn't make sense. Wait. 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 Hold on. I think I know what's going on here. Actually, I don't know. Yep, this is it right here. If not mod config dot resist dot enable shield calcs, return optional dot empty. Yep. There you go. And it's the same thing here. If optional dot what might mod config dot resist dot enable armor calcs, return optional dot empty. Now we need to quickly make sure that we put an exclam there. Okay, so now it won't even return a shield distribution. So it won't assign shield distributions if enabled. It also won't even return existing shield distributions if enabled. It basically wipes shield distributions off the planet, which is pretty cool, actually. It won't assign new ones, but it also won't detect existing ones. I'm gonna add that. Won't even assign or detect shield distributions. Assigned or detected. Okay, okay, okay. I really don't like this, though. For the sole reason that there is a check here, there is a check... Where are you used? Yeah, look at this. It's used 4 places. Which means to effectively shut off shields, I have to shut off shields here. Well, this is... That doesn't really count. But I have to, like, shut this off, I have to shut this off, and I have to shut this off. Nah, you know what? It arguably doesn't even matter. This might not matter anymore. Because who cares if I assign a shield distribution to it? It's only going to assign a shield distribution if it has a shield distribution. In which case, just remove it from the config, bro. Just remove it from the config. It's fine. We'll still need this so that the shield calcs get turned off. Right? But I no longer need to do that because we just don't return a shield distribution. Which is perfectly fine. And this is something that we're turning off anyway. So now I only have that there. That I like so much better. Now there's another is applicable I'm gonna need to update. This. Because it just won't detect or return armor distributions in this case. That should make it... The reason why I care so much about that is because that should make it easier to maintain the whole turning on and off shield and armor calculations instead of going, okay, so I need to remember that when the shield calculations are turned off, it also, like, it does something here, it does something here, it does something here. I'd like that to just be all in, like, either it does, like, one thing, or all of the things it does is localized in, like, one place. But it's hard to localize it all in one place, because there's a bunch of things, that there's, like, specific behaviors it needs to alter, but I think this one behavior, if I alter that one behavior, we should be good. That makes sense? Everybody's paying attention, following along. Everyone knows what's going on. That's good. Glad you're all paying attention. I'll give you guys a pop quiz. What the heck have I been talking about for the past 20 minutes? So now we'll still assign shield distributions. It'll still register the capability, which as far as I'm concerned is totally fine. If someone's upset that, you know, wasting precious startup time by registering a capability and assigning a capability to things that aren't going to be using it, skill issue, bro. Skill issue. So now what do you mean? Oh wait, because let's get new shields. Now this might be... This makes, like, no sense now. I wonder if that's a tooltip thing now. Because now it shouldn't even have a shield distribution. Right? So... Okay, so that was it turned off, right? So now if I go here, config resistance, turn this back on, it still should have, like, it was assigned it? Right, it was in fact assigned it, right? So now I can block now. Idiot. 1.6. 5, 2.5. I take 2. I take 1.6. Why is the damage weird? Is it because of the resistance potion effect? Hold on. Let me turn off the resistance potion effect here. That might have something to do with it. Yeah. That was the resistance potion. Okay. That's just DDD not knowing how to report insanely high resistance that is preventing damage. Or something. Yeah, that was DDD not knowing what the heck it was doing. It's fine. Now, the thing is that I'm not taking... My shield isn't taking durability damage. Because there's 311 before. Oh, never mind, it is. Slash give me a shield. Shit, no, dude, bro. With shield distribution enabled, it does take durability damage. It took 2, because I took 2 damage. That makes sense. Okay. But now, if I go here, I turn off shield calculations. Shield, it reports nothing. It reports nothing. Okay, not bad. Pretty good, actually. Pretty good. One problem. Why is it still showing up on the tooltips? Now I know that this is like a tooltip problem. This is a tooltip problem. Which fundamentally means this is easy to fix. I just have to go to the tooltip thing and shield distribution formatter, right? So format capability 4, if cap is null, return optional dot empty. But it's still attempting to. And it probably does that because I have no idea, actually. I genuinely have no idea. Oh, wait! I know why. Tooltip distributor, right? Base, mod compat. I believe the reason why is probably because I just gotta figure out where it's tooltip maker. Yes. Yes, right here. It checks if it doesn't check to see if it has a distribution, it checks to see if it's configured in the configurations. Which makes a lot of sense. And I can't just say return, I can't just check to see if the stack has a shield distribution. Because if it has a shield distribution, like, it's always going to have a shield distribution, right? Like, that's the thing. And I think it's because I need to do this because... Now, you could have a situation where something has a distribution without being configured. I don't know if this will work. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to Oh, it's gonna be this, and it either has a capability or it's registered. Bro, why did you go over there? I didn't tell you to do that. Where I'm going to add this over here. Basically, we're going to have it check if it's configured first. If it's configured, great, do that first. If it's not, then check if it has capability. So this means that in the situation of, like, can this return null? The return value might change during runtime if this object gains or loses support for a capability. It is not required to call this function before calling... The stack should be... it just shouldn't cause a problem. This shouldn't cause a problem. I mean, basically the same thing here. Config dot resist dot enable armor calcs and this where am I? Or stack dot has capability. Why is it always like shift back to the beginning? That's so dumb. Armor distribution dot cap. Why always go back, bro? I'm telling you, bro. It's something else. It's something else. What is your problem? I have no idea, dude. This projectile pair being registered... I'm not too sure. If it's configured... Or that... Now, what if it's not configured? What if it's not configured, but it's given a distribution? So if we always show damage disk tooltip, oh, that's for that. I want you to stop shifting me back to the... If you can you stop doing that? Stack dot has capability damage. Whoops. Damage. Whoops. Damage distribute. It's doing it again, dude. Dot cap. I hate you. I don't know why it's doing that. Why are you doing that? Where have you moved? Why are you the largest cringe to exist? Bro? I don't understand. This mob damage thing, that's perfectly fine. Yeah, so I just need it for those things. Right? Because we can't tell it anything else. Yeah, because all these other things are just extra, but like if it happens to have the capability but it wasn't configured, for example, some companion mod or whatever decided to add a capability for it outside of the distribution, that's fine. Just, you know, show the information anyway. Honestly, the configured check seems a little weird, but I'm leaving it like that. So now it should work. And then if this actually works, like, I turn off the shield calcs and it doesn't tell me anything about shield distributions, and the shield distributions aren't being handled or anything, and I turn it back on and then they appear. If that works like that, I'm going to call the shield toggle done, because that seems pretty done to me. And we know the default distribution works because that was tested a long time ago. So that should work. So I'm like trying to justify the differences between like the different, well, that's more for like armor, but like the default armor distribution is if you want certain armor distributions configured and certain other armor distributions not configured, or to like have some default values so you don't have to configure them, versus like having individual things. I don't know, I think it's fine. I think it's fine. It's just slightly different ways of like accomplishing things. Anyway, so now it should not report. See, it doesn't even report. It doesn't even report. It doesn't even report it. And now we go here, we go here, we go here, 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 here. And now it reports it. Awesome. Now, if it's reporting it, DDD has a hard time understanding what the heck the... For some reason, it's still reporting 1.6 as the final damage, but that's weird. If I refresh it, it still works, so... And we know it's cutting it. It's cutting it in half, which is exactly what we want. And then resistance, turn off the shield calcs. And now this just works like a regular shield, because now DDD just ignores the whole thing. Can I like have you shoot yourself? No, I can't. Would be funny though. Dude, your aim is garbage. Okay. That's a win in my book. That is an actual win. Because we've managed to fully transform... Yeah, let's take a look at what we've accomplished right now. Right? So... we have mix-ins to replace access transformers. I didn't check the death message thing. I'm gonna check the death message thing right now. Because I totally forgot to do that. We want to make sure that the death messages are still being done. Do I have the example damage type registered? Oh, dude, I really hope I have the example damage type registered. I don't think I do. Registered distributions. Register the not flammable type. It should register the example type, right? But I don't think I have the example type. Yeah, I don't have the example type. Oh, well then, bro, I have to do the example type. Well, hold on. Let's make sure that we got this set up correctly for example types and death messages and stuff. Use custom death messages. That's not a thing. That's not a thing. These are the existing things, but we're not using JSON stuff. Um, okay, got that, right? So now what I'm gonna do here is it's gonna be worth it. Trust me, it's not actually really gonna be that worth it. I'm gonna go to the config. Wait, no. I need to go to scripts. Make me a new script. And we're going to do loader content tweaker mod loaded distinct damage descriptions equals mods.ddd dot damage type builder? Bro. I do not even remember. I don't even remember. Where's my damage type builder thingy majigger? It is a damage type builder. I was right. Mods.ddd damage type builder dot create. I know I don't have this showing, but this shouldn't take very long. Assuming I can type stuff correctly, which I can't, but we'll get there. Wait, can't I just... Can't I just do this? Oh yeah, and don't forget to register it. Yeah, that seems good. Alright, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna go into the config for you. That's mob base damage, weapon base damage. Okay. Perfect. I didn't change anything here, so all I need to do is just launch this, then go to this, probably. Yep. I don't know, I hope that works. So now... No, you're wrong? It doesn't say that there's any problems. Okay, it's got Craft Tweaker. Oh, it doesn't have Content Tweaker. That actually makes a lot of sense. That would, in fact, make a lot of sense. Okay. Now it should register the type. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. All right, yes, it registered the damage type. And then it loaded the item distribution. Yeah, okay. We're good. We're good. Everything is good. Is my stick better now? It is better. Okay, so my stick inflicts example damage now. I think I can just do this. Oops. Okay, so he has a stick. Which means he's doing example damage. Wayla even reports it. Wow, that took a while. I need to turn my invulnerability off. Okay. They made an example out of me. Heck yeah, dude, let's go. Okay, you don't need to make another example out of me. Welcome. Oh yeah, it works. So now, game mode, 1. You're not gonna pick anything else up. However, I can now showcase the other things, which is... Yep. Later, idiot. Bye. Welcome, 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 welcome. Why is this bludgeoning damage? I thought that would have been force damage for sure. Looks like I was incorrect. Wait, isn't this supposed to show mob damage? Oh, oh, I need to have that on. I mean, yeah, that makes sense. So we'll check a couple other damage sites, making sure that they're working correctly and stuff, which they probably are. Oh, I would have to check the tooltips by giving you something like this, right? Yeah, because that'll, like, do force damage and stuff. Shouldn't the sword do a lot of force damage? Oh, that's 49% force damage. That's cool. I have no idea what I'm doing right now, if that's not apparent. That's fine. I'll give this to a zombie or something. I just need to set the zombie to, like, be able to pick up stuff, you know? Properties. Can pick up loot. And then items have no item in hand. I'll copy that. Okay. So now I can... Whoops. You can start with picking up this. Pick up that. Alright. And now he's going to hit me. And he's doing fire damage now, because he's hitting me with a blaze rod, which you would expect to do fire damage. And then, what does it say? I get, like, burned by him? Oh, I was immolated. That's what it says. Okay. Pet got approved on Curse, even got 3 downloads, but I think they're just from internal bots. I mean, hey, I'm glad it got approved, though. Glad it got approved. That's important. You know, that's step 1, right? And now he picks this up. Dude, you're supposed to pick this up. Why you pick up the shield? I didn't see no fire. It doesn't actually inflict fire damage, it's just the type is categorized as fire. Which means mobs that can resist fire damage, which I can't, But mobs that can resist fire damage will resist this zombie's attacks. So now it should pick that up. Or is it unable to pick that up because it's technically two-hand? No, it can certainly... Wow, dude, that is massive. I am afraid of this man. I was obliterated. He took my head! Dude, that's not cool. That's not cool, dude. He took my head. Oh my gosh, he one-taps me. I can't do it. Taste your own medicine, dude. Later, idiot! Now, this might just say that it kills me. Normally. It's only a % chance, so it does it. I'm pretty sure. Oh, I was stabbed. I was stabbed by a cave spider because they inflicted, pretty sure some of the damage should be poison, right? Actually, that's a really good question. Is that even working? Oh wait, I don't think I have the, Oh, I have the damage classification on. Wait, what's going on here then? Damage classification. It is saying poison. Wait, but when the... How much damage is a cave spider supposed to do? Current damage is 2. Current damage 2. Is 2. Oh, okay. Yeah, piercing poison. Okay, it is classifying it. It's just it's hard to see. There's like lots of stuff appearing here. Takes a long time for it to perish me. However, the way it determines the last type, get weighted random representative type. Are you even used anywhere? You are, aren't you, though? Except... you get weighted random representative type. Yeah, so it's only gonna be a 25% chance that it says I like received like a lethal dose of poison or whatever. Blaze can punch you. Yes, I did know Blaze could punch. Blaze do inflict melee damage. I gotta make sure this works. Values touch m.values touch stream dot reduce dot get times random dot next float. All r greater than 0. So it would have to generate a high random number. Yeah, basically it would have to generate a high random number. I just want to make sure it actually gives me a different death message. Dude, he spin! Yes, I got a lethal dose of poison. Why am I excited about that? Okay, let's beat it up. Bro! Okay, we're good. You are dead, not the big surprise. Yep. Okay, that works. Your suicide proactive. Alright, that works. That works. That means that the mix-ins to replace access transformers, that's done. The shield toggle, that's done. Which is pretty good. Pretty good. What happens if another mod adds a new kind of damage that doesn't exist in vanilla? When you say new kind of damage, you mean a new damage source? As in, like, tech guns? Because in that situation, you just define it yourself. You define a distribution. I guess modded guns in general. I think most just have bullets to be very fast arrows. Yeah, I mean, there is that, but in some situations, like what's it? What adds a new damage source? There's something that adds a new damage source. It doesn't matter. But take for example, tech guns. Tech guns adds its own damage source, right? And that damage source, it has its own damage source for poison. It's like TG poison or whatever, right? So you would actually write a script. You would write a script. I actually have it sort of here. Scripts, right? You would write a script that's not the right one. Or is it this? Yeah. Something like this. Well, I'll show you this. Open this with text editor. Yeah. So you define a content tweaker script to create. You can create a damage type, right? If you want to create a custom damage type, you can create a custom damage type. In this case, I create a custom true damage type, and then I create a distribution for like a true explosion, and then I set the weights. So a true explosion distribution is going to be 50% true damage, 50% bludgeoning damage. And then I define this context function. This is the big thing, where I define the context in which this distribution applies. In which case, what this is basically doing is that it's checking to see if it was caused by a charged creeper explosion. If it's caused by a charged creeper explosion, I have now created a situation where I want a charged creeper explosion to do 50% true damage and 50% bludgeoning damage, right? So you could do a similar thing where this SRC here is the damage source. You could check that against the modded damage source, for example, TG poison, and you could check it there. And you could even, like, let's say you wanted TG poison to be a poison damage. You just create a distribution, set the weight to be poison, the built-in DDD poison type, which you just do poison here. and set this to 1, and then the context function just checks the damage source name if it's TG poison, right? And then it will have that count as poison. So so if a mod adds new kinds of damage source and all this other stuff, the pack author kind of has to decide how it works with this thing right here, which is probably by far the most powerful option that DDD gives you. So yeah. So you have the option to configure it in that way. And there's a lot of cool ZenScript stuff. If you're curious, you can always go to the DDD GitHub. There's a wiki page covering a whole bunch of ZenScript examples. But yeah, it does work for other stuff. Now some stuff have configs built in and special integration, right? Like Lycanites mobs. I have special integration with Lycanites mobs for like the custom equipment builder, and so as a result, I have defined different distributions for it being on fire. Right? For like the different like fire types that are in Lycanites mobs. Meaning that, you know, this is a built-in special distributions because I have special integration with Lycanites. It's not necessarily going to happen with everything. Basically, this kind of only happens for mods that get special integration. I will add special distributions where applicable, and especially if needed, because it's hard to define the context otherwise. Because this is hard to check, right? Like, this needs to check this whole thing, and then... yeah. It's actually tricky to do. You could maybe do it with a craft taker script, but it would not be easy. So anyway, so this is good. We got pretty good stuff. We've talked about this. We have no access transformers. Everything uses mixins now. We have dealt with that. First aid might be a problem. We definitely do still need to work on that and this, but this seems good. This is now like a to-do thing. I'm just going to update this over here. And yeah, so that was a very successful stream. We basically got all of our DDD back up and running. That's actually really reassuring, because that reassures me that the rest of this is just we keep chipping away at it and we'll get there, right? But everything is so far so good. Shields, that shield toggle, everything else with shields works great. We are going to have to do a lot of things with armor. That's probably going to be next time. We narrowed down shields and got that all working. Now we're going to narrow down on armor, get armor working. That's kind of the play. We might also just double check that this whole inflammable creature type thing... Inflammable is not the right word, but whatever, I don't care. Yeah. So, with that, I'm going to probably end the stream because I've been at this for over 3.5 hours, which doesn't really feel like it. But here we are. Um, yeah, pretty long stream, but we got progress. Now, tomorrow I will do Continuum because I didn't do Continuum Monday. Thursday I will do Battle Network as normal. Friday I might do more modding as a because I want to get this list stuff done, right? So that DDD 1.7 can go out, and it will probably be the best version of DDD we hope that will have ever existed. And yeah, so I might do another dev stream. I might do like 2 dev streams per week until we get 1.7 out, maybe. But yeah, with that, I'm going to close the stream here. I'm gonna figure out if anyone's live right now. I've Yeah, we'll do this. They're arting. We'll do that. Yeah. Yep. Actually, wait, quickly before I go. Um, of course, if you want to check out the GitHub for the mods and stuff, you can do that there, and that too as well, and the YouTube, all that good stuff. Yeah, plug that stuff, and then we're good. I actually don't know what's going on here, which is probably the best reason to raid, because I have, like, no idea what's going on. So, that works with me. If it works with you, it works with me. And, I will see you all tomorrow. Alright. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.